Thank you so very much, Marjorie, for that Catholic introduction. I think you covered practically everything that I've done in my career, but it's really a pleasure to be here celebrating the distinguished legacy of Mrs. Anatol Rodgers. And I really feel that in the Caribbean, we don't honor our women as much as we ought to. But this is not a lecture about gender politics. So I will cease and desist, as they say. But it really is a pleasure to be part of this series. Traditional Pan-Africanism consciously and deliberately attempts to create bonds of solidarity based upon a commonality of fate imposed by the transatlantic slave trade and its aftermath. These are the emotive words of the distinguished African-American sociologist St. Clair Drake. What immediately strikes me as I reflect on these powerful words is a paradox encoded in Drake's image of the bond. For the primary meaning of bond in this context is a strong tie of cultural affiliation that binds Africans scattered across the face of the earth. But bond also subversively signifies bondage, thus evoking the enslavement of African peoples, not only in the transatlantic slave trade, but also in the earlier Arab violations. And so the provocative question, are the bonds between Africans across the globe to be defined fatalistically by a shared history of bondage? My response is a decided no. I unequivocally celebrate cultural connections founded on the affirmation of agency, creativity, and empowerment. The exemplary Pan-Africanist novel, Home to Harlem, written by the Jamaican expatriate man of letters Claude McKay, illustrates the authority of literature as a distinctive medium for exploring grand political themes in an intimate way. The novel's central character is the African-American Jake, who enlists to fight in the First European War, popularly known as a World War, in typical Eurocentric arrogance. This is how Jake expresses his disaffection with the way in which black soldiers were treated. Why did I ever enlist and come over here? Why did I want to mix up myself in a white folks' war? It ain't ever was any of black folks' affair. Niggers am ever always such fools anyhow, always thinking they've got something to do with white folks' business. Now notice how Jake humorously distances himself from foolish niggers with his use of the third person plural they. Consider as well the way in which nigger is used as a disparagingly affectionate insider term, which cannot be appropriated by others, outsiders, except to give offense. Jake returns to the US and immediately heads home to Harlem. He gets a job working on the railroad as a cook and meets Ray, a Haitian intellectual who is working as a waiter. A typical fate for many migrants who do not often enjoy the privilege of working in their professions. Think of all those New York taxi drivers who are economists, medical doctors, lawyers, etc., who are unable to practice their trade because of complex certification protocols and perceived language barriers. But that is another story. McKay engages Jake and Ray in illuminating conversation, which becomes an act of self-disclosure in which each attempts to figure out the other. When the Haitian Ray informs Jake that French is his native language, the bewildered African-American asks a penetrating question that goes to the heart of the matter of cultural difference. Ain't you one of us too? The answer to this seemingly straightforward question opens up to Jake a world of revolution, of black power and military sophistication that challenges his stereotypes about Africans and Caribbean people. This is how McKay describes Jake's epiphany. Jake was very American in spirit and shared a little of that comfortable Yankee contempt for poor foreigners. And as an American Negro, he looked askew at foreign niggers. Africa was jungle, and Africans, bush niggers, cannibals. And West Indians were monkey chasers. But now he felt like a boy who stands with the map of the world in colors before him and feels the wonder of the world. McKay's novel was published in 1928. And just in case you think this kind of ethnic prejudice is dead, let me share an anecdote. This Sunday, on my way home from a conference in the US, I overheard an exchange between a Jamaican passenger and an African-American security guard at a checkpoint at the JFK airport. Well, he sounded African-American, I can't be absolutely sure. The guard had actually pushed a cart on the passenger, who protested that the guard didn't seem appropriately apologetic. The insult hurled at the Jamaican was taking monkey ass to the Caribbean. All I heard was monkey ass, but other passengers confirmed they'd heard the full insult. I have gotten a form which I'm still going to fill out of protest because I just think that's completely out of place. So, Jake's question, ain't you one of us too, elicits an affirmative answer from Ray. Of course I'm Negro, the waiter said, but I was born in Haiti, and the language down there is French. Haiti, Haiti, repeated Jake. That's where now? That's an island in the Caribbean near the Panama Canal. Ray's cunning geography, locating Haiti near the Panama Canal, generously facilitates Jake's awakening from ignorance. Like Harlem, the Panama Canal is a potent Pan-Africanist signifier. Indeed, Panama becomes a metaphor for the bridging of African diasporic cultures in the Americas. Though the canal explosively severed the umbilical cord that once joined two continents, it also somewhat paradoxically engendered cultural continuities. Produced by the labor of so many re-migrant African peoples, the canal now separates continents and simultaneously joins the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, itself the site of other African diasporas, both ancient and modern, another Middle Passage. In this place, where so many dispossessed Africans risked their lives for the opportunity to make a living, there was created another vibrant meeting place of African cultures. When Ray relates a grand narrative of the Haitian Revolution and Toussaint Louverture's defeat of the French army, Jay's exhilarated response is, a black man, oh, I wish I had been a soldier under such a man. Haiti's epic victory constitutes a formidable contestation of the divide and rule politics of global Euro-American cultural imperialism. The brilliance of McKay's novel, Home to Harlem, is in part a function of its cultural hybridity, its attempt to define both blackness and the meaning of home in the riotous meeting of ethnically diverse African cultures in Harlem. So Harlem itself is celebrated as a Pan-Africanist city par excellence, where continental Africans and those of us scattered across the far-flung diaspora meet and explore our cultural similarities and differences. This cultural space opens up a map of the world in colors that engenders